between honeybee and cow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vinod Kumar. Any questions for Dr. Vinod Kumar?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Okay, no questions. I have a very quick question. Did you actually test whether what this bee is doing with after consuming the honey? Did you follow it
Uh,
somewhere?
Yes, sir. Actually, we was in another work, sir. We collected samples from the cow, and we are in urge to analyze the sample. Afterwards, we got the permission to enter into the forest. Actually, that's a dense forest, which is full of forest animals like elephants, leopards, and all. We got special permission to enter, but due to rain and some landslide, we couldn't follow that work, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. I think Dr. Arati has a question.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, actually, it is not a question. Just I have a doubt whether it is collecting the nectar or it is using the minerals from the urine of cows, sir. Could you
To
please
answer
clarify
this
this?
question, yes, ma'am. To answer this question, we have further more detailed investigation, ma'am. As I said before, we got all permission from the local forest office, and we are not able to enter inside because of some landslide and conflict. Uh, after some days, we can go and get the full report, I think.
Actually, I'm also working in the field of honeybee.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
usually what we say is it is doing the puddling activity in butterflies as well as in honeybees. We say that it is doing the puddling. That is
Okay.
when the bee or when the insect is in need of minerals, it used to feed on the feces of the animals or the urine of the animals, and they will be absorbing the minerals. That is what the thing as of I heard, but I don't know whether it is nectar or something. That is the
Okay,
thing,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you. Thank you
Uh,
so much. Thank you.
uh, as by our literature survey, the second in 2008, Govind Balba from Uttarakhand has used cow urine to save his bee, um, to save his bee from microbial disease during his rearing process. So, by having this information, we concluded, but further study need to conclude this uh, study, madam.
Yeah, Vinod, what Dr. Arti is telling is
Okay,
also
sir.
what I want to add on. Yeah, that's the puddling activity that insects involve in procuring
Okay.
minerals.
Yes,
In
sir.
butterflies, more often the males tend to do. That has also an impact on its reproductive physiology.
Okay, sir.
So those are recorded observations. Please
Okay.
work into that line also. Yeah,
Thank you,
it
sir.
is also with regard to the urine, cow's urine, the microbial, antimicrobial properties that it has.
Yes,
All
sir.
this can be integrated,
Okay.
but it has to also be quantified and qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis to tell what is present here, what is getting integrated into the bee system, all
Okay, sir.
needs to be revealed. Okay, this is a preliminary observation that you have
Yes, sir.
made. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yes. Okay, then.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vinod Kumar.
Thank you, sir.
So next we will have S. Rajshekara, who is going to talk about conservation strategies for the Indian peafowl, Pava cristatus, in Bangalore University campus. So, Mr. Rajshekara, are you here?
Yes, yes. Hello.
Yes. Yes, go ahead, please. Uh, Mr. Vinod Kumar, I think you should stop sharing your. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Can you see the presentation? Hello.
No.
No, once again. Yeah, share. One second. Don't think so. At present. Hello,
Yes.
sir. Are you able to see the screen?
No, I am not able to see the
Yeah,
screen.
now it's okay. Once again.
No. Mr. Vinod Kumar, have you stopped sharing your content? Hello, Mr. Armugam, Vinod Kumar?
So it is not taking up.
Sir, actually, I have stopped, sir.
Oh, you have stopped. Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
So then, thank you.
Yes.
No, Dr. Rajshekara, we cannot see your screen.
So now you can see.
No, no.
So now you can see. Hello.
No,
Is
no,
it
not
so?
yet.
Not yet. Okay.
So just a suggestion, if it's getting delayed, we'll go to the next speaker, presenter,
Yeah.
and then you can rejoin Dr. Rajshekar.
Yeah. That's okay then. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine. In that
Santosh
case,
sir, you can go ahead.
in that case, our next speaker, Deepak. Oh, hang on, is this?
Yeah, you're right. Next is Deepak.
Yes,
Yeah,
good
no,
afternoon.
it looks like
Yeah.
Dr. Rajshekara has shared.
Yeah, sharing the screen.
And
Can I present?
Yes, Deepak, go ahead.
Yeah.
Deepak will talk about rapid inventorization of annual diversity at Nandi Hills, Chikbalapur district.
Good afternoon, everyone. If I could start, I thank the organizers for providing me an opportunity to present. Can everyone see the slide?
It's visible, yes.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm here to present about the rapid inventorization of annual diversity at Nandi Hills, Chikbalapur district of Karnataka. So I will just keep it brief. This is background. We all know that India is one of the megadiverse country and one among the global biodiversity hotspots. And if you see the biogeography of India, it's unique because it has 10 biogeographic regions, which is unique to the country. And if you see biodiversity, why biodiversity surveys are important? Because it provides the baseline data. The surveys are the backbones for any conservation steps to take. We need a baseline data, and biodiversity surveys are the ones which will provide it. And the major threat for biodiversity is habitat fragmentation, because it leads to gradual decreasing of the suitable habitat in which the animals or the organisms live. So thereby, for any biodiversity, the major threat is habitat fragmentation. When it comes to India, most of these studies are from the wet regions, and most of the dry zones are avoided, or not much study has been done, because most of the wet areas like the biodiversity hotspots are explored and studied, whereas if you see, a lot of data pertaining to the dry zones are not available. And that's the reason the main objective of the study was to understand what kind of endurance are found in Nandi Hills, because till now there are no data pertaining to the amphibians of Nandi Hills. And the current study, we took like the first objective to fill the baseline data first, to know what kind of amphibians of frogs and toads found in Nandi Hills. That's the reason we took this as one of the objective. And if you see, when it comes to Karnataka, again, the zone map of Karnataka, you can see there are 4 zones. You have the coastal zone, you have the hilly region, then you have the northern and the southern dry zone, also called as the Deccan Plateau. When it comes to amphibians, again, most studies are found again in Karnataka. When it comes to amphibians of Karnataka, again, most of the studies are focused only the Western Ghats and the coastal areas, because if you see on the right hand side, the picture, most part of the Western Ghats falls in the state. And if you see the study area, that's the reason we took Nandi Hills, because it falls in the dry zone. And if you see, Nandi Hills is something which is interesting, because Nandi Hills is located at Chikbalapur district, and it was earlier known as Nandi Durg. That's because, excuse me, can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
No.
No?
No, it just disappeared. So could you share it again?
Yes. Can you see now?
Yes.
Sorry I don't know what happened. So when it comes to Nandi Hills, it's located at Chikbalapur district of Karnataka, and earlier it was known as Nandi Durg, because if you see the aerial view of this mountain, it just looks like a Nandi sitting. That's the reason it was called as Nandi Durg, and later it turned to be called as Nandi Hills. And Nandi Hills is something, a popular place for people of Bangalore, because it's known for tourists, known for trekking, bird watching, and most of the people from Bangalore have vacant plants. That's something which is known for, Nandi is known for. And if you see the vegetation of Nandi Hills, it's mainly scrub and dry deciduous type of vegetation with altitudinal variations. And apart from that, it also has rocky outcrops and deciduous scrub forests. This Nandi Hills is known to harbor more flora and fauna, a rich flora and fauna, and most of the data is pertaining to birds and the floral diversity, because you have the horticulture department established in Nandi Hills, and that's the reason there are a lot of data pertaining to the flora. And respect to fauna, most of the data is pertaining to birds, because as I told you, it's a very good place for bird watching. So most of the people travel there to look for birds, because there are a lot of migratory birds which come and rest there. That's something very good for bird watchers to visit. And if you see, this is a different place of Nandi Hills, and this is a map, and this is how the view looks. And my model organ in Nandi Hills is the study organisms, amphibians. So we all know amphibians are cold-blooded animals, and they're very good ecological indicators. And under amphibians, you have 3 orders, that is order Aenura, then Chordata, salamanders, and the Caecilians or the Gymnophiona, the limbless amphibians. Now, what is special about amphibians is because they provide various ecosystem services. Okay, they are integral part of the ecosystem.
Sorry to interrupt, Deepak. You will be running out of time. So
yeah, I'm just saying, sir. My work is not much. I'll just tell you. So I'll skip this. Okay, yeah. It's not a review, it's a paper. So if you see the amphibians of Karnataka, the checklist, there are totally 102 species of amphibians from Karnataka, of which 55 species have been described from the state. And if you see the Nandi Hills, we started exploring. If you see the study area, we explored every part of Nandi Hills, where we started looking for amphibians like visual encounter and acoustic surveys, exploring all the landscapes at different elevations, looking for the amphibians. Of course, we have put the pictures of the evening time, but because literally amphibians are nocturnal, we do surveys in the night. So these are the pictures we want to show, like how we do the survey. And during our study, we started looking for frogs based on the location, the calls, and all this. That's how we started recording the endurance from the study area. And if you see, during our study, based on the pilot survey, we could come across 12 species of frogs, of which belonging to 4 families. These are the 12 species which we encountered. And what is interesting is, of all the species what we encountered in the study area, the species like Sperotheca, the first picture here, Sperotheca bengaluru and Sperotheca breviceps, and one more here, Operadon, were not found on the higher elevations. They were found basically elevation where is just 900 meters. So we need further studies. A long-term monitoring project should be initiated to know why certain species are found on that particular place and not any other place. So during our study, these are the frogs which we encountered, and surprisingly, we didn't encounter the bullfrog, the Oplobatrachus, and we can't just say that that animal doesn't exist there, but we need more of proper sampling, thorough samplings, and this study was carried out during the 2021, the month of July, monsoon period. But after that, we couldn't encounter more because of various reasons. One is lockdown, other one is the landslide at Nandi Hills. So these are the reasons. And why I was specifying about this landslide is, I was telling you habitat fragmentation is one of the reasons, right, for biodiversity threat, and such natural calamities and tourism will have a huge impact on these animals. I thank the Department of Horticulture, Lal Bagh and Nandi Hills. I thank Alexander for helping me during the field work. Any doubts?
Okay, thank you, Deepak. Any questions for Deepak? Okay, in which case, thank you again, Deepak. We'll move on to the. Is Dr. Rajashekara, are you able to share your screen?
Sir, I had a question for Deepak, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, were you able to find any tree frogs in your observation?
Yeah, there's only one tree frog, which is Rhacophorus. The tree
okay, sir. Yeah.
Polypedatus, sorry, not Rhacophorus, Polypedatus maxillatus. Rhacophoridae family.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Deepak. Dr. Rajashekara, are you able to share your screen and resume your presentation? Okay, if not, we'll move on with the next presentation. Bhupendra or Kumar?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, are you ready to present? You can go ahead.
Okay,
Bhupendra
sir.
will be talking about intra and interspecific interactions of street cattle and urban ecosystems.
Sir, is it visible?
Yes, it's visible. So, in the interest of keeping time, could you cut
Okay, sir,
short
okay.
your
Yes.
introduction? Yeah.
Okay.
All the to all the speakers, to all the remaining
Okay,
speakers.
sir.
Please cut short your introductions and move to the results. Thank you. Thank you very much for understanding.
So, good afternoon, all of you. Here, this is Bhupendra Kumar Sahu, and today's topic is intra and interspecific interaction of street cattle in urban ecosystem. So, in the urban landscape of developing countries like India, the two species, especially cattle and dog, coexist and interact with humans regularly. The cattle and dogs compete with each other for food and territories in the purpose of food and territories, and human comes into contact with both of them while on the road. So, objective of the current study was to evaluate the intraspecific interaction of street cattle and evaluate the interspecific interaction of street cattle in urban ecosystem. And we also determined the effect of factor time of day on different intra and interspecific interactions. So for the purpose of the study, we selected 10 locations randomly in the Raipur city. Raipur is a capital of Chhattisgarh. I have presented over here. There are all study sites over the Raipur city. So material method. So we used on-site human observation method, as well as we also recorded the activities of different interaction using digital video cameras and still cameras. For the purpose of this study, for each location, we recorded our data for 3 consecutive days. Sir,
Bhupendra, sorry to interrupt. I think Dr. Rajashekara, can you stop sharing your screen, please? Because Bhupendra was presenting his talk. Thank you. Bhupendra, could you share your screen
yes,
again?
Sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Is it visible or not? Sir, is it visible?
No.
Let me share now.
Just have to reshare it.
Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, go ahead, please.
So, as I told you that we had 10 locations. For each location, we recorded the data for 3 consecutive days. For each days, we had 4 time period when we recorded the activities. For each time period, we had 1 hour, and each hour we had divided into 12 bins of 5 minutes each. If we recorded the any interaction, if we did not recorded any interaction throughout the 12 bins, then we digitize as 0. And if we recorded the any interaction throughout the 12 bins, then we digitize as 12. So we log transform data to minimize the variance, and we calculated the proportion of the data, and finally we digitize the data. We analyze the data. For purpose of the data analysis, we used Kolmogorov-Smirnov statistics to check the normality of the data, and Levin statistics used to check the homogeneity of the data. We also used the Kruskal-Wallis rank test followed by Monmouth-New test to compare the different intra and intraspecific interactions. So results indicated that intraspecific interaction, that is a cattle-cattle interaction, we found out that the neutral interaction was significantly higher as compared to the positive and neutral interaction, negative interaction. And we subdivided the positive interaction as licking, sucking, playing, mounting, and phlegm, and the negative behavior was subcategorized as pushing, butting, and dominance. And we actually compared all the interaction at a time, and we found out that the neutral interaction was significantly higher, followed by the butting, licking behavior, and it was least in the case of dominance. So interspecific interaction indicated that the cattle-dog interaction, though both the species had a significantly highly neutral interaction is followed by the positive and a negative interaction. When we subdivided the positive interaction between these two species, such as positive interaction of cattle towards dog, positive interaction of dog towards cattle. So we found we compared at a time, and we found out that the neutral interaction is again significantly higher, followed by the positive interaction of dog towards the cattle. The interspecific interaction, in the case of cattle-human interaction, we found out that the significantly higher neutral interaction was again found significantly higher as compared to the negative and positive interaction. Negative interaction was significantly higher as compared to the positive interaction. And when we compared at a time, then we found out that the neutral interaction was significantly higher, followed by the negative interaction of cattle towards the human, and negative interaction of human towards the cattle, and it was least reported in the positive interaction of cattle towards the human. We also determined the effect of factor time of day on different intraspecific interaction, and we found out that the intraspecific interactions such as leaking, playing, mounting, pushing, butting has significantly affected by factor time of day. And in all 5 cases, we found out that the activities were highly recorded in the evening hour. We also determined the effect of factor time of day on interspecific interactions, and this category was actually the interaction between the cattle and the dog, and we found out that the positive interaction of dog towards the cattle, negative interaction of cattle towards the dog, and negative interaction between cattle dog has significantly more during the night hour. In the case of negative interaction of cattle towards the human, negative interaction of human towards the cattle, and a neutral interaction between the human and cattle was significantly affected by time of day, and it was recorded least in the midnight hours. So on the basis of our result, we concluded that the high butting behavior of indicated that the more negative intraspecific interaction, it could be because of the shortening of the landscape and shortage of the food that are especially minimum available in the urban landscape. More neutral integration indicated that the coexistence of human, cattle, and dog in the urban landscape, and we found out that the time of day significantly affect the intraspecific interactions such as licking, playing, mounting, pushing, and butting. And in the intraspecific interaction, positive interaction of dog towards the cattle, negative interaction of cattle towards the dog, negative interaction of cattle towards the human, negative interaction of cattle human towards the cattle, and the neutral interaction between the species of cattle and the dog and the cattle in humans. I acknowledge my supervisor, Professor A.K. Pati, and my co-supervisor, Professor Arti Pargania. I am also acknowledge Municipal Corporation Raipur, who are allowed to take pictures in the public places. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Bhupendra. Interesting. Does anyone have questions for Bhupendra? Okay, in that case, let's see. Okay, in that case, I think we can move on to the next
session. Yes, sir.
Yes.
I will take over. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Santosh, for chairing this session. We split it into two. The first part before lunch, before the keynote address 2, and after that. So thank you for chairing all these papers of the oral presentation. We'll now move on to the second part of the oral presentation. This session will be chaired by Dr. Viola Mendonce, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, St. Joseph's College. We have Dr. Rajshekhara pending. We'll start from Dr. Rajshekhara onwards. Over to Dr. Viola.
Hello.
Hello. Sir, your mic is on.
Hello.
Dr. Bhupendra Kumar Sahu. You can unmute. Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, I will read out the list for the next presentations. We have Dr. Rajshekhara presenting on Pavocrustatus. That was number 1. And then we are going to have the presenters from number 16, the behavioral adaptation of black drongo by Kumuda Acharya, 1. Then Dr. Arti's work on epidemiological survey on insecticides. Then Ramya Shri, the preliminary study on the influence of sandbar. Sarmishta Oja on screening of conducive microhabitat. No, that's overlap. A comprehensive review of acoustic communication of Nilgiri langur, that topic. And then cognition of animals in the urbanized world by Shubhada Rao. And then Shraddha Kumari's presentation on bygone, contemporary, and eminent aspects of dietary composition. Yes, so all of you, please be in line, and we are going to start with the next session. Dr. Viola.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, please proceed. I think we'll start with Dr. Rajshekhara's presentation and then on number 16 onwards.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Rajshekhara, would you like to resume your presentation on Pavocrustatus in the Bangalore University campus? Yes, sir. Please go ahead.